Morning, everyone. Welcome to MPC Markets Morning Call, pre-market pulse, 8th of July. Market was sharply lower overnight as President Trump obviously came out with a fresh new tariff blitz, talking of 25% on South Korea, Japan. He's also picking on Myanmar, Laos, South Africa, Malaysia, and Kazakhstan. But also we were led lower by a further 7% or $68 billion fall in Tesla as Elon Musk started his own political party, the America Party. So shareholders are furious about Musk getting back into politics. They were very much looking forward to him getting back to business at Tesla, particularly with the robo-taxi on the horizon, testing in Texas at the moment. So hopefully we will see him get back to business rather than getting back to being involved in politics, albeit that I don't disagree with him attacking the big, beautiful bill, which will be a big, beautiful disaster, considering the amount of debt that it's adding to the US national debt. But, you know, I can imagine that Tesla shareholders are very justified in being furious. So we saw the major indices drop around about 1% overnight. They were down around about 0.3% when the ASX shut yesterday afternoon. So Dow down 0.94, the S&P down 0.8, and the Nasdaq as well, and the Russell down 1.5. The Euro stocks were up early. That was obviously before President Trump came out and made those announcements. So basically, the trade deadline on August the 9th has been pushed. On July the 9th has been pushed to August the 1st. So we all kind of knew that. I mean, I've been saying that there's really no chance that he was going to get all of those trade deals done, and that the bullying would start again. I think I said exactly that basically last Thursday, so that it would start early this week, and here we are. He is increasingly predictable. Scott Besson said they're close to a lot of deals. Basically, yet again, we're hearing that from the American side. We're not hearing that from any of the other counterparties to any of these trade deals. So I'm very skeptical they're going to get anything done at this stage. I mean, we're talking yet again, the deals that have been done, in inverted commas, two of them really have not been done. India and China, there's been no details. So, he also indicated that there'll be more announcements expected in the next 48 hours. But again, we've heard that all before. So, where the investment sentiment was really rattled was uncertainty over, potential scale of some of these tariffs. Not only did he threaten, some of the minnows of the world in Southeast Asia and, and South Africa, he's really had a crack at the BRICS nations and said anyone who is going away from the US will be punished. And the BRICS summit is on at the moment. He's accused them all of anti-American practices, which I disagree with. What these countries are concerned about is the US is the reserve currency of the world, and they're running around, like a drunk teenager with their parents' credit card at the moment. And those tax cuts really, for the majority of which are going to the ultra rich, were inappropriate. And I think essentially the only people that can't see it are Trump and Congress. So we are going to see the debt anywhere up to $50 trillion, which essentially makes it impossible for it to be paid off. So we will expect further weakness in the US dollar, I would expect. Gold did start to head back a little bit higher. Silver did make a new 15-year high yesterday morning and then drifted off. Crude prices headed higher overnight as the Saudis set some prices higher than expected. So we really will, we'll keep an eye on those stores of value. Northern Star fell yesterday quite significantly on the Aussie market due to a production guidance. Was down around about 7%. I would say that is presenting very good value here at the moment. particularly with the tactics from Trump, is more than likely going to send those store of value trades higher. As you can see on the market map here, Tesla was the standout downside. Uber was up a little bit. We've got Costco and Walmart up slightly. Really the only green in the screen, to be honest. Palantir was up, but very volatile. That stock swings around, sort of does its own thing overall. The banks were down, and we will start to see bank earnings come through, I think, starting with, I believe, Wells Fargo and Goldman Sachs, and possibly Citigroup early next week, around about Wednesday, I believe. So there's no longer any fear around the deadline. So I'm not entirely sure what we're going to do for the rest of the week. It just depends really on how aggressive Mr. Trump or President Trump gets with these threats. It hasn't been a particularly good start. So I would expect at record highs here for all markets across the world. If it'd be pretty sensible to be taking off some risk, I would have thought, particularly leaning into some corporate earnings, which are all going to be based on that quarter where, yes, we did bounce, but there was significant panic in that sort of mid or early to mid-April period. So, and there would be, I would imagine, a lot of plan, or inability to plan from a lot of CEOs based on not being able to know what their costs are going to be because there's so much tariff uncertainty. So, yeah, obviously crude the big winner overnight, up about 2.3% in the energy and commodity space. Lithium took a bit of a hit. Platinum drifted off a little. And then obviously silver and gold made some gains from gained back from, trimmed some losses from early on in the session to be largely unchanged. So in terms of the Aussie market, the SPY's down at 85.26, down just a little bit over 0.5%. We have the RBA today. I think 32 out of 36 analysts are calling for a rate cut. It will be all about the press conference afterwards, I would imagine, with Michelle Bullock delivering that press conference around about 2:30, 3 o'clock. Whether it's going to be a hawkish or dovish cut. Just for context, hawkish means bearish, means that she would be saying, yes, we're cutting, but there's going to be no more cuts. Dovish would be basically going and saying, yes, we're cutting and there's more cuts to come. So that's just for, I know we use some terminology sometimes that, is very market centric, but hawk means you're leaning towards tightening. Dove means leaning towards easing. So we'll see what happens there this afternoon. I would expect the interest rate sensitive sectors to be mostly affected, but I would say trade war fears may override this. Particularly, as I said, we're sitting here around about record highs at the moment, and there is more uncertainty coming. We will, nothing much else on the calendar. FOMC minutes will be tomorrow night, and we will start to look at the earnings calendar into the US. If you're looking for more of those store of value trades, we do have a Bitcoin, Solana, Ethereum strategy for structured investments. Check out our socials. It's a capital protected investment, very much on the side of, short US dollar, which is really what we've been playing for the last 18 months via gold and silver. And we're now starting to play via that cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. So check those out as well. Speak to you tomorrow morning, and have a good day. General advice warning. The content presented in this presentation is intended for informational purposes only and provides general advice only. It does not take into account your personal objectives, financial situation, or specific needs. This information should not be the sole resource when making investment decisions. We strongly recommend you seek the advice of a financial professional.